Right, before we get started, let me make a quick apology, and that's because I haven't made any videos this week, and the reason for that is that I've had blocked ears and toothache, and the blocked ears meant that I couldn't hear myself speak, and that's difficult when you're trying to record a video, and the other thing with the toothache meant that, well, basically I couldn't think straight, and I actually had an extraction yesterday, and so I'm still in some pain. Not as bad as it was, but it's still uncomfortable and I am having problems opening my mouth properly. So do bear with me and I will try and get through this one with as little discomfort, both for me and you, hopefully, as possible. But what do I want to talk about? Well, what I want to talk about is online gaming and the fact that I now think that they are almost completely pointless. There, I said it. And look, I can hear the rustling as some of you reach for your keyboards to tell me that I'm a noob or that I should get good. And that's part of the problem for me, but we'll get to that. Years ago, when online gaming first started to take off, if a game didn't have an online element, some of us thought it was unfinished. And I actually remember having conversations with friends of mine saying, well, you know, it's a good game, but it hasn't really got online, so what's the point of playing it? Now we're actually in a world where it's shifted completely and we're in completely the opposite situation where the focus is entirely on the online aspect of a game to the detriment often of any campaign or story. Some of them have now completely forgone any idea of a campaign, so you're just left with the online. And that shouldn't be a problem though, should it? If an online game is good and it offers fun and a competitive experience, then who cares, right? Well, I do. And I'm sure there are others out there who do as well. And part of the reason for that is that as I've got older, I've become less competitive. Not that I was ever particularly competitive to begin with, but both my, skills and also my interest in being competitive have reduced. I honestly don't derive much personal worth from my ability to shoot someone in the face in COD or knock someone out in Fight Night Champion or whatever fighting game I might be playing. If I win, I win. But more often than not, I don't, and that's okay, as long as the loss is genuine. But quite often, a loss in an online game isn't genuine. It's the result of factors that are completely out of our control. We've got poor connections. And sometimes you wonder, is it a poor connection or is it someone cheating? Is the lag because of the bad connection or is someone using a lag switch or something like that? You get lag as a result of a bad connection, and you're sitting there screaming. Or, I don't scream anymore generally. I tend to just get irritated, but you know the feeling. I pay for a decent connection, but often the connection is far worse than what I pay for. So you're left in a difficult situation where you can't play as you would like to. And sometimes, it drops out completely during the course of a game. And so you end up with a loss when you were winning. And it just becomes frustrating. And when the internet is working properly, well, we have to contend with bad servers and netcode. If you look at EA and Activision, the servers are often laggy. They don't provide a level playing field. And Nintendo's peer-to-peer service, well, that's completely unfit for purpose, isn't it? It's completely useless. Yeah, even something like geography, though, can play its part. Whenever I fight anyone from the US in Fight Night, it's a laggy experience. And I don't know what it's like for them at their end, but I don't know why, if I'm playing someone in the US, that the experience should be worse. And, it might be selective attention on my part. It may be that I'm seeing when I'm playing these guys that it's worse. Maybe I'm having bad experiences with UK players as well. But often it seems to be when I'm playing someone in the US. And I honestly don't know whether this is to do with servers or what it might be, but it does affect gameplay. And sometimes you'll play someone and it's too easy, simply because the guy at the other end is experiencing lag. And that removes even the illusion of a level playing field. And you wonder, am I winning because of skill Or am I winning because I've, got a better connection? Or am I losing because the other guy's got a better connection? And those are just some of the technical issues. The worst thing about online gaming is other gamers, though. Often. Not always, but often. I know people who've totally given up on the idea of playing online games, primarily because they're fed up with the screaming children and man-children. You know the ones, we've all experienced them, the overly aggressive idiots waving their pencil dicks around like they have a donkey schlong in their pants. They throw out insults and personal attacks like candy. But then they get all defensive when anyone calls them out over it. I remember years ago there was some guy running around on a map calling me a cheat because he wasn't able to kill me, and not realising that he was actually on my team and there was no team kills on. And then you get people who aren't such idiots in terms of knowing what's going on in the game, but yet they get angry with you because you've beaten them or whatever it might be. These same people are often cheats too. In fact, I can't prove it, but I'm convinced there's a crossover between the aggressive asshole gamer and the cheating asshole gamer. Not least the fact that they're both arseholes, of course. After all, if you put that much stock in victory and you're a sad loser, why would you not cheat? It's a natural progression. These cheats will use wall hacks, aimbots, modded stats, lag switches, you name it. Anything to get the win, despite the fact that we all know that it's not actually a win at all, because at the end of the day, you are only cheating yourself if you resort to such tactics. Unfortunately, though, these complete morons lack the self-awareness to realise that they're not actually good at anything other than being a pain in the arse. Some of them are so completely devoid of any form of perspective that they actually get angry when people call them out. "I'm not cheating, you are," they scream like some low-rent Trump wannabes, crying because they didn't get what they wanted and the adults saw through their pathetic charade of superiority to the empty and pathetic shell underneath. I've even seen these morons get angry when companies such as Activision, EA or Epic or whoever else it might be finally get off their asses and ban them for cheating and for their toxic bullshit. Boo fucking who? You're so hard done by. Just think yourself lucky it's only an online game and not pool or something. When I used to play pool, and I think I said this in another video, losers like these guys wouldn't just get banned for cheating. They get taken out back and given a good kicking. And look, I've said it before, and no doubt I'll say it again. I don't condone that kind of behaviour. But it was the reality. Online, that kind of thing won't happen because you're anonymous and you're hidden, and so you can behave like a complete shit without any real consequence. The consequences for cheating in video games are almost non-existent outside of competitive gaming, and even there, sometimes people seem to get away with it. And I do wonder if the companies actually care. Do they actually give a shit? I was watching some YouTubers tracking cheaters in COD recently, and they were talking about the consequences of cheating. Basically, all that happens is that people get their accounts banned. It achieves nothing, as the cheaters can have a new account up and running inside a couple of minutes, and then they're cheating again. I've even known people whose gamer tag changed more often than I change my socks. Their skills were spookily good, and if they weren't cheating, well, I'm a lean 20-year-old Adonis with a full head of hair and not needing to wear glasses. These people cheat constantly, and many of them see no problem with it. I even saw one guy in the comments of a video on cheaters tell people to get better at the game if they didn't want to get beaten by cheats, which makes me think that some of these guys are actually delusional. They actually believe they're better than people like me who don't cheat. The irony there is that they probably would be better than me because I'm pretty poor at online games these days anyway, but they'll never actually know because their egos are too fragile to even take the chance. And companies like EA, Activision, 2K, whoever else it might be, who make billions from online games, should be doing more to stop cheating, but they don't. Banning accounts, as I've already said, is completely pointless, so why don't they implement more stringent measures? I suspect it comes down to the bottom line. If cheating becomes so bad and so obvious that people start leaving a game and therefore are no longer throwing good money after bad, then game publishers will sit up and take notice. But most of the time, that simply doesn't happen. Gamers gripe and moan and report the cheaters, but they still continue playing the game. Oh, maybe next time I won't encounter a cheat. Maybe next time it'll be a fair match. Christ, I've done it myself. Over and over again. And all the while gamers continue to play, EA, Activision, 2K, Epic, whoever it might be, are still raking in the money, even from the cheaters. After all, cheaters are often paying customers too. And that brings me to my next point. It's bad enough that gamers are cheating, but the companies are in on the act now too. And their reasons for doing it? Well, as you might suspect, is pure greed. We've all heard about the patents filed by the likes of EA and Activision that are designed to keep people playing and thus spending more money. But they've always claimed that these were just experimental. As if somehow they would spend R&D on these things without wanting to implement them. Well, now it seems that this idea that it's just experimental is not actually the case, as if we actually ever really believed that it was. And what many of us have long suspected, well, it appears to be happening. A YouTuber by the name of Why So Serious recently put up a video in which he claims Activision have implemented real-time skill adjustments in COD as suggested in a patent filed by the company in 2017. If what Why So Serious says is true, and I suspect it is, then Activision are manipulating skill levels within the game to keep people playing. And we all know why they want to do that. So that they keep spending on loot boxes or other DLC in a managed pay-to-win cycle that is completely under the control of the company that made the game. The patent talks about altering players' accuracy based on how well they're doing. So if you're on a kill streak, your accuracy will be reduced, or reducing a successful player's health to make him or her easier to kill. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't have a problem with skill-based matchmaking. In fact, I think it could be a good thing if done right. But this isn't skill-based matchmaking. This is the cynical manipulation of players. It's the video game equivalent of a casino stacking the deck or weighting the dice, even though the odds are already stacked in their favour. Not only is it immoral, but it should be illegal. So look, there you have it. Bad internet, poor servers and netcode, overly aggressive and abusive players, cheats and corporate greed. Add all this up and you're left with anything but a fun experience for the gamer. As I said before, I used to be an advocate of online gaming, and I used to love playing with both friends and random people I met in-game. But honestly, there's nothing left to hold my attention anymore, other than cynical attempts to manipulate me into spending money, which fortunately I can see through. I do still play online games on occasion, but it's a bit like when I used to try cigarettes from time to time. I'd always come away wondering why anyone bothered. It was unhealthy, addictive, and all I'd be doing if I continued was to put money into the pockets of people who wanted to exploit me, while simultaneously hurting my health. In that scenario, I suppose the toxic gamers and the cheats can be compared to the bullies at school who used to nick cigarettes off other kids. Ultimately, they were also marks because they also became addicted. And the analogy with gaming is that these guys continue to spend money. The bullies were as good a reason as any not to smoke, and these toxic morons are as good a reason to avoid online games as any. But there are so many reasons to avoid online gaming now that I have a hard time justifying playing them at all. Honestly, I'd rather do anything than waste my time fighting bad netcode, being yelled at by man-children and treated with complete disdain by the companies that make the games, to the point where they would happily ignore online cheating as long as it doesn't impact their bottom line. As I said at the beginning of this video, playing online games has become almost completely pointless. The average player simply can't compete much of the time, and when they can, it's because the playing field is being tilted to create artificial leveling. Cheats are everywhere, but the worst cheats of all are the companies making the games, and that often makes playing them an act of self-harm akin to compulsive gambling. What's the saying? Madness is doing the same thing over and over again with the same outcome? Well, by that measure, playing online games in their current form is madness. But hey, look, that's just my opinion. I'm sure some of you still enjoy playing online games, and if you've got a big circle of friends, then maybe. I don't know. But, as I say, I'm finding it harder and harder to justify. Let me know what you think about it in the comments, though. You might think I'm completely wrong, and that's fine. We can get into it and have a conversation. That's what these videos are all about. They're about starting a conversation. And I'm not the oracle, and I might be completely wrong. As I say, let me know in the comments and we'll have a chat. And, give me a like and subscribe and all the rest of it. And you might find other videos that you're interested in as well. But for now, I'm going to go and rest my tooth, and I'm going to try and have a cup of tea, and I'll speak to you in the next one. Bye.